Hi, I'm Tammy Davis, and I really appreciate you joining me today. I was wanting to make a video, and I wasn't really sure what to do, so I just didn't do anything until this last week. Actually, it's been a couple of weeks now, and it just occurred to me to talk about calcium today, which I know is not an essential oil, although essential oils do help with the assimilation of calcium. But more importantly, it's come to my attention through working with a various number of clients, all of them of which present with different situations, health conditions. But the interesting thing about it is it all points to calcium. And so a couple years back, I had been, let me say it differently. Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a few years that I have been outspoken about our overuse of calcium. In fact, I've even found evidence through the American Heart Association that states the United States population alone has a really excessively high blood serum calcium levels, which indicates to me, and I'm sure many other people, that we're not using calcium properly. What's worse is we have an ever-growing population of people with overreactive immune systems, oftentimes described as autoimmune. There's a number of people that are told that their health is indicative of an autoimmune disorder, but they can't really pinpoint what's going on. And it all comes back to calcium. Now, the reason I bring this up is because again, a couple weeks ago, I had a case presented to me where a young man under the age of 30 has arthritis in his spine, and he now has calcifications in his lungs. Clear indicator that the calcium is not being used appropriately. Because, and I will get to the reason why, but when we think about, arthritis alone and how do I want to say that? Arthritis, and which is an autoimmune, RA is and even OA is an autoimmune or an immune reaction. And so how I want to say is I don't like to use the word dysfunctional, but it is in some regards a dysfunctional development. An unusual development of bone, and calcium is used in bone development. So with that said, he was one of the first ones that, that started the whole ball rolling for me. And then last week, I had someone contact me regarding cataracts. And as it is, she also has diabetes. Come to find out, cataracts are frequently, people who with diabetes are at high risk of cataracts. And what they've discovered is that calcium is indicated in the development of cataracts. Okay, so now we have a couple of health issues that calcium is indicated. I mean, when you have calcification in the lungs, that's telling you that calcium is settling and being deposited in different places in the body. This is what kidney stones are as well. So there's a pattern. Sorry, I just know there's people walking around me, and I just kind of got a little distracted. Forgive me. So, but anyway, there is a pattern. So when that came to mind, and then I had another person contact me with regards to health conditions. She was also told that it appears as if she's dealing with some type of autoimmune response. She happens to have thyroid issues. The person with diabetes happens to have a thyroid issue. And even though the parathyroid and the thyroid are different, there's also vitamin D involved. And okay, so bear with me here. So this particular individual that recently contacted me, I mean, she has significant indicators of an overactive immune system. And many people would say we need to take vitamin D, but science is already demonstrating that, again, the United States is epidemically low in vitamin D, regardless of how much vitamin D they take, even if they're taking it in supplement form, as we're not using it. And there's two different things that go on with vitamin D. Number one, it's a hormone. You have to produce it. If you're not producing it, if you are producing it, then there's another concern, potentially, not necessarily, but potentially, with the VDR, which is the vitamin D receptor. So it's either you're not making it, or if you are making it, now you're not utilizing it. And vitamin D is necessary for the assimilation of calcium. However, studies are not in depth enough. They are working with, in some cases, and doing some studies in an ideal situation, so it's very heavily controlled. And when they can control it, they can actually see the mechanisms here. But the challenge is that we're, most of us are either, like I said, we're not making it, or we're not able to use it properly. And this isn't a plea for people to go out and take vitamin D. I mean, going out and getting sunshine is definitely to your advantage. But all of this basically screams of is serious hormonal and endocrine challenges. And what's interesting to me is that this individual who reached out to me in the last couple of days has also seen endocrinologists. And I'm not saying anything that they're doing anything wrong. What I'm saying is we're missing something here. And it goes back to what I mentioned in my last video about compartmentalized health. That when we start getting really, really specific in our targets, and we start going down that one rabbit hole, we start to miss everything else. And so, not to say that we don't need to get specific, okay? Because if the thyroid is actually struggling, and I mean, I just had another person I've been working with for a couple of years that lives with psoriasis. We had gotten it pretty much under control, but she also herself has a thyroid problem. She's also been taking high blood pressure medications now for almost 25, 30 years. We had to switch out the blood pressure meds because they were actually causing flare-ups with the psoriasis. But the point is that I'm getting at is that she contacted me this morning, and it said that the psoriasis is starting to flare again. But when she sent me the list of information of things that she's currently doing, she's actually taking calcium. And again, we might say, well, we're supposed to take calcium. Everybody's suggesting we take calcium. Well, this video is about stop taking it. In fact, everybody that's contacted me in the last couple of weeks, the guy that's got calcifications in his lungs, the woman who has cataracts in her eyes, I've had to tell them all to stop taking anything, not just the calcium alone, but if you're taking anything with calcium in it, stop. The American Heart Association's already said that our blood serum levels are remarkably high. And I've seen blood tests where we have that window of within normal limits, and consistently, most people, the calcium levels are on the higher side of within normal limits. But as long as we stay within that band, then we're not warned to stop. So we have people taking things, antacids that are, made of that are basically calcium. I mean, we have calcium all over the place, and there's a couple of things about calcium. Number one, calcium and magnesium compete for absorption when they are taken in supplement form. When they are taken in food form, again, this comes back to nature and the way nature, the synergy of within nature, that nature actually can recognize, and the food that we take, or the food that we consume rather, with calcium in it, the calcium and the magnesium are assimilated properly. And it's what's most important, that's kind of a difficult thing to wrap your head around when we hear that things are being they're competing for absorption. So let me put it to you another way. When we take things that are in salt form, okay, that's your supplement. And I'm going to because they're just basically different types of salts. And so we take calcium and we pair it with another chemical, like calcium carbonate, right? Magnesium chloride. When we pair them with another chemical, we are creating what I refer to as a salt. I may be incorrect in that statement, but it is nonetheless, it is no longer the mineral or the trace mineral ion, it is a compound. And it's that compound that makes the biggest difference, because the body now has to break it down. And the body has to work through a process in order for us to make it usable. And this is another way of stressing the digestive system and stressing the body. So, if taking minerals and using trace minerals is necessary, it's important. Okay, it's good. We get them in our waters. You can get them in powder form. But now you're just getting the ion, and the body has a better ability to use it because it's an ion form. That's the reason why they can put it in waters, okay? And I do frequently encourage people to start with and use electrolyte solutions because they are living with some level of autoimmune disorder, and they're actually finding extraordinary benefit by using electrolytes instead of taking a supplement. So the point, like I said, to this entire video is basically stop taking calcium. It's plugging up our arteries. There's a lot of value. And here's again, calcium is absolutely necessary. So this isn't to say we don't need it. It's just we need to get it in other forms. So we need to make sure we're getting it in our food. And no, you don't have to eat dairy to get your calcium. Your greens are very, very high in calcium. So is maca root. So is raw cacao. These are foods, and I am an alchemist by nature. So I like taking individuals into it, and this is the reason why I work with my own blends. I blend individually for people because I like taking one ingredient and then incorporating it with a couple of other things and then creating a synergy that way. So the point of that is that if we get it in our foods, you can definitely get calcium and magnesium in your foods. You don't have to be taking them in supplement form, although magnesium in supplement form at this point is a good idea because it does actually quiet. It is, believe it or not, magnesium is a natural calcium channel blocker. But that said, this is, again, isn't to say calcium is bad for us. We just need to be more mindful about where we're getting our source of calcium, because here's the thing. Calcium is necessary for fat metabolism. Obesity and weight gain are a problem for many, many people. And the reason why that is, goes back to endocrine problems, endocrine issues. The reason why the hormonal system or the endocrine system is dysregulated is a result of a lot of stress, whether it be mental, emotional, physical, or environmental. There's a lot happening that's causing a dysregulation of the hormonal system for survival. Okay, we're in survival mode. It's not that the body's not working, it is actually working. It's just working for survival and not for thriving. So that's going to throw the system off, which means our minerals are not being used effectively. And so therefore it comes down to, again, relieving the stress response. Now, at the cellular level, the mechanism for stress response, for stress relief, is going to be an essential oil, because they do act like Mother Nature. Okay, Mother Nature. And when you pair it with a wholesome diet, then you have a better response. So calcium, what is it necessary for? Well, it's necessary for bone formation. Is also necessary for, it's basically used for tissue development. It's also required for nerve signaling, muscle signaling. It's also, like I mentioned a while ago, for fat metabolism. And believe it or not, guys, this is the reason why I did this video. It actually is the initial trigger for our immune response. So there you have it. This excessive level of calcium that we're taking is actually potentially inciting a riot within our systems, and it's activating activating our immune system without even realizing it. So everybody that's contacted me lately who is having some level of autoimmune response going on, it's a result, but they're all taking calcium. I've had to take them all off of calcium. This isn't to say that calcium is the only problem, but it is a key factor. Don't believe me? Go do your research. Go take a look out there. You'll find plenty of information out there that indicates that calcium is a leading factor in our immune response. So if we're trying to quiet the immune system, stop taking calcium. Get it in your foods. Yes, you do want to take it if you with regards to heat and humidity, and and if you are facing any sort of chronic health issue, having an electrolyte solution is a very good idea because it's an ion form. But you don't want to be taking the calcium, the magnesium in supplement form. In ion form is great. Getting it in wholesome foods and including specific essential oils that will actually help with the activation of the vitamin D receptor. Actually help, influence effective activity, vitamin D receptor activity. Things like spirulina actually help with the production of vitamin D, especially now that we're getting into the sunshine. And you only need 10 to 15 minutes 2 or 3 times a week. That's it, of sunshine. And then you are set. You are golden when it comes to producing vitamin D. And stop taking vitamin D. I realize that you're being encouraged by a lot of professionals to take it, but the fact is, it's doing very little for blood serum levels. And if you're not able to use it, then there's no sense in taking it. You're just wasting your money. Besides that, vitamin D is a hormone the body is supposed to make. And the more we actually give the body what it's supposed to do, the less it's going to do. We're just sending messages that you don't need to do this for us any longer. Well, we've got it covered. So you're basically weakening your system, or you're creating a laziness, so to speak, of the system. And so not taking vitamin D, not taking calcium, taking things like I said, your electrolytes and spirulina into your day. Again, the maca root, it really depends on what you're doing. If you've got medications going on, then, we need to talk. But then again, also, like I said, the inclusion of essential oils, for nothing else, just cellular stress relief, and helps the body actually utilize these nutrients in a more effective manner. More specifically, if there's something, I can't make the recommendations here as far as what oils to do, simply because your system is your system. Each person that I've been talking about, I listed 4 different people that, all of them have similar issues, but they also have different issues. But the bottom line is, if we're going to, the fundamental issue is an overactive immune system, but they each require different blends or different formulas of essential oils. But they're also going to hear a lot of what I just said here with regards to spirulina, electrolytes, and custom essential oil blends, because it's simple is better, simple is more, and the less we do, the more the body can do for us. So I would love to have you join me, and I do have a Synergessence group on Facebook where I am helping people learn more about the oils that will be more specific to them. We can have a private conversation, if you're willing to discuss your concerns, and I can actually educate you on how to include, if that's what you're looking for, very specific oils and to work with yourself. I'm going to include that link in the description box below. You're also welcome to hit me up, Tammy at Synergessence.com, with private questions, but I am going to direct you back to the group. In order to facilitate my time and make it more affordable, for myself, that I do appreciate your donations, because they do keep me coming back. They do give me the opportunity. They kind of free my mind up, I guess you can say, to be able to sit here and talk with you. Again, so I look forward to seeing you in my group. You're also welcome to email me if you have some generalized questions. Please follow me on Instagram at Tammy Davis 8, or even on Twitter at Tammy Davis 8, whichever you're on. I love looking at other people's pictures. I'll follow you back. This isn't about me just gathering followers. It's about a mutual appreciation for one another. So I look forward to connecting with you some way, and until then, be well. I think I'll also include, I've been doing it in all my videos, but I'm going to do it again, the document on the physiological effects of stress. It just begins to show you what happens. And but more importantly, cut back on your supplements. Review everything that you're taking. If there's things that have calcium in them, just stop taking them for a while. It doesn't mean that you're going to stop taking them forever, but truthfully, you probably were better off. And find yourself a really nice electrolyte solution. You can drink it in your water, like I said. You can make it. If you were just to kind of like make like a sun tea of orange, lemon, lime, and grapefruit, and let them sit, maybe add a little bit of salt to that, you've got yourself a really nice electrolyte mix, if that's how you want to do it. So let me know what questions you have. I appreciate you joining me. Until later, be well.